and that is the proof of the apostolic succession that's in Scripture and early church fathers, the authenticity of the church that we see in those apostles and their continuing successors. And that's what draws us in to be able to recognize the authentic voice that has a stamp to it.
Right.
And I know some of these emails are going to deal with some of the other issues that lend with that, so why don't we jump right into them, all right? Mm-hmm. This one comes from Gary in Mobile, Alabama, not very far away from where we are right here. Dear Marcus and Mrs. Kremski, I have a friend at work who, like me, is a cradle Catholic. Recently, however, she has begun attending a Pentecostal church. Still, in talking to her, I get the sense that its drawing power is limited to the charisma of the service. She has said that she did not feel right because she didn't kneel or receive Christ in the Eucharist at this church. I have lent her Surprised by Truth 2, they'll get your story, and have told her about the Mass I attend. Is there anything else I should attempt to help her stay in the church? Bear in mind, I have never really witnessed to anyone before.
Okay.
So you're giving marching orders to our friend Gary.
Okay. Well, I think it's always good to find out where the person really is. If was a cradle Catholic and now she's going to this other church, she's looking for something. But yet she goes there and she doesn't feel it's quite right. So her interior discernment is on, it's working. So I think maybe you could ask her, well, what is it you're looking for by going there? And try to come to the appreciation of what you have in the church more. I don't know if you have that appreciation or not, but to be able to show her that if you want the truth, it's here, and you don't have to have great worship music. You don't have to have a loud preacher. The emotional excitement is not going to satisfy. You need the spiritual food, and there's no better spiritual food than the Eucharist.
What about his discernment that it seemed to him that the one drawing card was the charisma of the worship?
I think a lot of people, Catholics and others, have been drawn to Pentecostal churches and groups like that because of that, the charismatic, and I don't mean that in the spiritual way, but just the outward drawing, the attraction, the excitement, the emotional feeling. You go to a conference and you're on a high, but what do you do when you come down? And, did you get the truth? Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. And it was a good experience. So it's almost like you got to go back for more. You got to go back for more. And, I've found, when I go to the Mass and I hear the Word and I receive Jesus, it's like I want to go back for more, but not because I feel empty. It's like you're filled with that.
Isn't it interesting that not placing judgment on the validity of the charismatic experience, not placing that judgment.
No, because there's place for that in the right.
But it is interesting that such a tremendous growth of that movement happened in a century when we had such a growth on the drive for entertainment, the drive for all these emotional fulfillment in the media.
Well, I think you'll even hear, people that are Catholics now sometimes will say they don't go to Mass anymore because they don't get anything out of going to Mass. Or if they go, they're more impressed by the music than, we want to go to a church that has a great choir. Or we want to go, that's even seeping in to the Catholic thing, and people are forgetting. Faith gives us the vision to see the truth. And we need to use that. Like when you go to Mass, you might not always feel an emotional high, but one of the things that I try to do is to remember the truth. Remember Jesus is there.
When you ask people who church hop all the time, you ask them why, and you ask what they're looking for, usually their criteria are self-centered criteria. Mm-hmm. Preaching for me, the thing for my children, this kind of a
and I think that hits on too what we're talking about with the importance of truth. Mm-hmm. What are you looking for? What are you after? Do you really want the truth? Do you know that that's what's going to make the difference in your life? I mean, when you get to the end of your life, I know one of the things I prayed is, Lord, I want to fulfill the truth and your purpose for me. So that's what you need to be looking for.
I hope that our viewers and listeners in shortwaves around the world recognize that the guest from week to week, the coming home to the Catholic Church is a humbling thing. It's not a self-elevating. Yeah. It's a humbling realization of the truth, of the richness of 2,000 years of Catholicism, the call to holiness,
Right.
all of that. I mean, it's not something that we pat ourselves on the back as if, wow, look what I did.
No, because you have to admit you were wrong. You have to say it was right under my nose and I didn't see it.
That's right.
You know, and you know, my parents are praying to Our Lady, and I'm trying to get them out of the church, and they're right. You know.
Right, that's a humbling thing. Let's take this